Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy Krypts here. We're back with another video, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a tier list to characters up to 2.0 of Genshin Impact. So let's get right into the video.
My friend.
So before I start anything, I just want to make sure, just put this out there, right? I'm trying to be as less biased as possible and just do, what I think is the best characters and the worst characters, right? Obviously, you're entitled to your own opinions, and, it's up to you, all that sort. So don't get too upset. I know the last time I made a tier list was actually a while ago, a really long time ago, honestly. I don't think Ganyu was in that tier list or Hu Tao. I think it was up to Zhongli or the Child Banner. So yeah, it's been a while. Alright, so let's get right into the video. So the Traveler, I'm gonna put him D tier. I'm sorry. He's just nah. I think this is a Geo one. So I'm gonna just put the Geo one, the Geo Traveler at D tier. So there's that. Albedo, I think Albedo deserves to be A tier. I think Albedo is definitely good. A very good battery, Geo battery, right? Obviously, there hasn't been a crazy Geo DPS released yet. We have Zhongli as a 5-star Geo, and that's it. We got Ningguang as Geo, Noel, but other than that, we don't really have that many Geo characters. So, and a super crazy DPS Geo character is not really there. Zhongli does do interesting, he does a good amount of DPS, but Albedo and Zhongli together, honestly, that's S tier, but Albedo individually, I would say A tier. Every tier list is always going to have Amber at D tier. Meme-wise, I put her up here, but obviously, I would put her at D tier. There's nothing really much to say. It is Amber, so there's that as well. Ayaka? I don't know. I don't really know Ayaka too much. I have seen, gameplay of Ayaka and what she does. And she's a pretty good character, especially if you build a good team around her. But obviously, I don't know too much about her, so I can't really say too much. But looking what I've seen so far and the team you put around her, I guess I can put her A tier. Maybe people put her in S tier, but right now I'm just gonna put her A tier because I don't know too much, how to use Ayaka crazy. She just got, been released, right? So there's that as well. So I don't really know too much myself. Barbara, she's a good healer, and because she heals, I'm gonna put her at B tier. You could put her at C tier, but I'm gonna put her at B tier just because she's a healer. Obviously, there's many way better healers now in Genshin Impact. But Barbara, she's pretty good. She's pretty bad. She's not crazy or anything. She's mediocre at best. So I think B tier is, it suits for her. Beidou, I'm also gonna put at B tier as well. She's not a bad character in my opinion. I think she can be pretty decent, but obviously when it comes to power scaling and all that sort compared to other characters, I think B tier fits her perfectly, right in the middle. She's not crazy good, but she's also not bad. Especially if I know there are some Beidou mains out there, and they've been using Beidou since the beginning of the game. They still use her now. So I think Beidou is pretty decent, but she's not crazy good. Bennett, I think Bennett does definitely deserve S tier. We all know every tier list is gonna have Bennett S tier. Bennett for sure is one of the best characters of the game. Best, I would say either the first best or the second best support character in the game. He is absolutely amazing. He heals your team. He gives more damage to your team, the team around him, right? And, he's pyro as well, so he can also proc prio on the enemy. Bennett is honestly amazing, and really, Bennett is just really good. So if you have Bennett and if you have constellations, use Bennett. You only need C1 Bennett and he can work perfectly fine. You can use C0 Bennett, but I do think C1 really does, really make him S tier, right? But C0 Bennett definitely still works, but pretty sure most of us by now should have C1 Bennett. I think I'm gonna put Chongyun C. Nah, I'll put a B tier. I'm putting it right here. I think Chongyun, they tried to work his kit, I think. Yeah, they've tried, artifact wise. We've tried with Chongyun, right? At first when the game first came out, Chongyun was right here. I'm be honest with you, and he's the coolest character looking. He's really cool character, honestly. He looks really cool. Blue hair, blue eyes, cryo, right? But Chongyun, I don't know. We tried. We tried to make Chongyun good, but he just isn't there for me. He can proc, cryo element to the enemies pretty easily so that you can do melt damage, but I don't know. I think Chongyun, I think B tier definitely suits him. You could arguably put him at C tier, but I'm gonna put him B tier because he could do decent sub DPS. But other than that, he's just not, top level. D Luke, my main D Luke. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I think Diluc is A tier now. You know, comparing to the other characters in the game, I do think Diluc is A tier character. I know most people would put him S character, but you know, obviously enemies are different now. Diluc is still a very good character, still very viable, but he's just not the top tier list anymore, in my opinion. Obviously, you know, if I was biased, I would put Diluc S tier because I am a Diluc main, but I'm putting him A tier. He's still very good, still one of the better DPS in the game. Obviously, you know, we have characters now that kind of surpassed him, and he's still good, he's still viable for sure. He does do good damage, but compared to like, you know, Ganyu, Hu Tao, and all that sort, I think he's at A tier in my opinion. But A tier is still pretty decent, just to let you guys know. Fiona, I'm gonna put her A tier as well. Ayaka, I'm just gonna put her probably here because I don't really know much about Ayaka, so I can't really explain her too much. But Fiona, I do think deserves A tier. She's a very, very good, you know, utility character. You know, you can proc shield with her, and she also does really good healing. You know, Diona is very solid in my opinion, especially if you can get constellations for her. As a 4-star, it shouldn't be impossible, right? But Diona, I do think is a very good character. And you know, I really do think if you can build your Diona, I am planning on building Diona or Diona. How do you? I don't even know how to say her name. Diona or Diona, I'm not sure. But I am planning on building her, and hopefully get a video out there anytime soon. But yeah, she's very good. Fischl, yeah, Fischl used to be one of the best support characters in the game. Like if you got Fischl at the beginning of the game, you're like, damn, she's amazing. I think Fischl, especially, I don't know, did Electro ever got buff? I'm not really sure myself, but I think I'm gonna put Fischl at B tier. High B tier, low A tier, right? But very high in the B tier, you know, she's really in between A tier and B tier. But she's a decent character. Obviously, Electro is a very iffy element, and you know, Fischl is still pretty good as a support Electro, but Electro is still not there in my opinion. And I just think that, you know, she's kind of died down in my opinion, and you know, she's kind of slowly climbed down the tier list and usage, of course. But she is pretty decent. Obviously, her element kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. Ganyu, definitely S tier in my opinion. Ganyu is by far one of the best DPS characters in the game for sure. She is absolutely broken, especially if you build her at her maximum potential. But Ganyu is definitely one of the best DPSs in the game. Probably the best, arguably, but you know, Ganyu, a little bit difficult to build in my opinion. Obviously, her artifacts are kind of out of the way. The weapon, you do want to use the Amos bow, if that's how you pronounce it. But you know, Ganyu definitely, you know, even for me, I use Blackcliff for Ganyu as my bow, and she still does absolutely crazy damage at a very good DPS rate. So, you know, Ganyu is definitely a very good character and definitely should be used if you have her. Hu Tao, definitely S tier as well. I main Hu Tao now. I used to main Diluc a lot. Now I main Hu Tao, and Hu Tao is absolutely amazing, especially if you can get C1 for her, which I am waiting, because I have C0 Hu Tao. If I can get C1 Hu Tao, oh my god, Tao is just gonna destroy everything. If you guys didn't know what C1 Hu Tao does, basically, I'll try my best to put it up on screen. When she's in her butterfly mode, I guess, she doesn't consume any stamina if you do her charge attack, which is absolutely broken because you can just spam it, right? So it's absolutely broken, and you know, she's really good. Obviously, I feel like a lot of people did not actually summon when Hu Tao came out. I think at that time people were kind of broke. I forgot which banner came before Hu Tao, or what banner was going to come after Hu Tao, but I do remember a lot of people didn't really summon on Hu Tao, which surprises me because she's really good. She's really good. So hopefully the next banner, when she has a rerun, more people will hopefully summon for her, and I really do recommend you should. So Hu Tao, S tier for sure. Jean, she's between A or S tier in my opinion. I think I'm gonna put her at A tier. I'm gonna put her above Albedo, I would think. I think Jean is A tier. She's great. She can heal your teammates, your team, and your teammates if you do co-op. Very perfect, very well. Now she's pretty good. She can do decent damage if you build her properly too. So she's not crazy good, but she's definitely up there in the, you know, tier list, in my opinion. So Jean, A tier, works perfectly fine. Kea, I'm gonna put him at C tier. I don't think Kea is great. Best part of Kea is proccing, you know, cryo element to the enemy is fairly easy. So if you proc that cryo onto the enemy, You bring out someone like Hu Tao or Diluc, and you can do melt damage very easily with Kea on your team. Other than that, Kea individually, I don't think is there power-wise. Support-wise, not there either, so I think Kea is at C tier in my opinion. You could argue put him at B tier, but I think C tier works perfectly fine for him. Keqing, I'm gonna put her at A tier. You know, she used to be one of the best DPSs in the game. Obviously, with new characters out, now she's kind of died down in my opinion. But Keqing, she's pretty decent. She does a good amount of damage. The only 5-star Electro character in the game, and obviously there's gonna be characters coming out, 5-star Electro characters, which I am excited about. But Keqing, I don't think she's at S tier in my opinion. But A tier, very solid, very good, but just not at the top. Lee, I would say also the same thing. A tier for her. Lee used to be very good when she first came out, obviously. Pyro and everything. She was very good DPS back in the day. Obviously, she's kind of, slowly, been crept up by power scaling, like such as Hu Tao and Ganyu. But she is decent, but I think there's better options, so I'm gonna put her at A tier. She is still pretty good, does pretty decent damage, but just not at the top level. Lisa, I think at C tier works perfectly fine for Lisa. She just ain't it. Really isn't good support. Doesn't do much damage. Lisa, not much to explain, y'all know. So I'm gonna put her at C tier. The Geo, is this the, no, a Nemo Traveler. I'm gonna put the Nemo Traveler at C tier. A little bit better than Geo in my opinion, but not the greatest. Obviously, it's like low tier. Like I would put her like high D, low C, right? And that's where I would put her. I'm gonna give her C tier. She is a little bit better than the Geo one in my opinion, but obviously not there as a support, not there as a utility usage, also not there for damage. Mona, she is really good in my opinion. Mona is really good. I really do think she's good, especially support wise. I'm gonna put Mona at S tier. She used to be A tier in my opinion, but as times come by, I think she really is good. The support, especially hydro wise. So I think she deserves her S tier. She does very good damage as a sub DPS if built correctly. But she's probably low S tier, high A tier, I would say. But I think she just about made S tier in my opinion because there's not many characters like her in my opinion. Obviously, support hydro is not really crazy in the game yet. So I think S tier, low S tier, works perfectly fine for Mona. Ningguang, I would say probably around here. She's probably B tier in my opinion. Does good DPS, obviously if you have constellations, of course. And she's not bad. She's not really good in the middle. She, I remember the Geo buff when it came out. She actually does pretty good damage in my opinion if you have her constellations. But that's only if you have her constellations, obviously. C0 Ningguang. B tier, not the greatest, but not the best. Noelle, I think I would say I think she's a little bit better than Barbara just because her shields. She also heals decently too. And obviously with the Geo's buff, I think she is better than Barbara. So I'm gonna put Noelle at B tier just above Barbara. Not much to explain. Her shield, very decent, but not the best obviously compared to Diona or Zhongli. So I think B tier works perfectly fine for her. I don't think she deserves C tier. So there's that as well. Chi-Chi, ooh, this one's tough. The very first 5-star, I would think Chi-Chi is B tier. Obviously, when she first came out, when the game first started, she was the go-to healer for sure because not many knew about Bennett. We didn't have Zhongli to put up shield, so she is probably the second best healer, I would say. Well, Jean, I think Jean's better healer. But yeah, other than healing, she doesn't really do much in my opinion. Her ultimate is whatever. Her healing does do good, but obviously is better. You have to you proc her E, which is her healing, and then you either switch to a character and it heals that individual character, or use Chi-Chi and it scales off her attack if I'm not mistaken. And if you attack with Chi-Chi, it heals the whole team pretty quickly in my opinion. But I still think she's just not there. Other than that, she's really there for healing. She doesn't do that much damage, and she doesn't really proc elemental mastery into the enemies. So I think Chi-Chi is high B tier in my opinion. Not bad, but obviously, as times come by, she's not the greatest. Razor, for a 4-star DPS, I do think he deserves B tier. I would say I'll put him probably right here. Maybe here. Razor is B tier, obviously. He is, Electro DPS. Razor, of course, was the go-to DPS back in the day. But as I said, many characters has come out. He's still decent, but he's just not going to carry you to the, end game content. So He's not bad, but he's not the best, and I would say he's low tier B in my opinion. So he doesn't really deserve C tier. He's really low tier B. Where he's basically like Chongyang. We tried to make him good. He does do decent damage if you really like build around him, but other than that, he's really B tier individually. Sucrose. Sucrose is in my opinion A tier. I arguably could put him S tier. I'm gonna put Sucrose like I'll put her over Keqing and Lee because Sucrose can fit in your team fairly easily because with the Elemental Mastery buff, he's really good. She's really good, and you know she's been underrated this whole time ever since Genshin Impact has been released, and really she's so underrated, and especially with the Elemental Mastery, swirl, you know, all her swirl and stuff like that, swirl damage, Anemo, all that sort. With the Verdicent Veneer, she is really good. So if you have Sucrose, especially with constellations, definitely try to fit Sucrose on your team. She will do wonders for you for Spiral Abyss. She is one of the most underrated Spiral Abyss characters to use. So Sucrose A tier, very well deserved. Child, I think I'm gonna put him high A tier. I'm not gonna put him S tier. He used to be S tier in my opinion, just like the Luke. And I know the last time I made a tier list, I put Child at A tier and people hated me for it. But I think now I can justify it. I think now Child is A tier, very high A tier in my opinion. You could put him low S tier, but I think A tier just because obviously I'll explain it again. More characters have come out, DPS wise better. He is still probably the best, you know, DPS for the Hydro element. But as I said, as times come by, he's probably going to be difficult to use. Hu Tao is literally a better version of Child, just a Pyro version, right? Especially since Pyro is better than Hydro in my opinion. Well, Pyro is the best, probably the best element in the game. Maybe Geo, but Geo I would say is somewhat second. I think Pyro still runs the reward for, you know, award for first place best element in the game. But Child, he is good, very good DPS for sure. But like I said, unless you have constellations for Child, he is very hard to use, and you know, he's just not going to do that damage for you consistently, especially without his constellations. I think it's C1 if I'm not mistaken, maybe C2. So Child definitely A tier, low S tier, but yeah, I think I can justify it this time. Venti, I'll say Venti is a S tier character. Venti is definitely one of the best support characters in the game. It's either between him or Bennett, but Venti is still viable in this game. He was the first 5-star that came out into Genshin Impact as a feature banner, and he is so good. Obviously with Verdicent Veneer and Swirl and all that sort, he's really good, and he does deserve his S tier spot. I guess if I put Child at A tier, I guess I could put Mona A tier too. So I'm gonna change Mona to A tier here. I think Mona A tier works better than S tier, because I guess Child and Mona, they're two different, you know, character styles and obviously, you know, play style and all that sort. But I think if I put Child A tier, I think Mona should be A tier as well. Jingling, or however you pronounce the name, A tier. If you know, if you build her really correctly, obviously this obviously comes to every character in the game, but she is actually a very good DPS unit. Procs Prio pretty easily. Very good for Spiral Abyss, so not much to explain. She's always been a solid character. I think she's always been hanging around B tier, but recently I do think she deserves her A tier. Low A tier for sure, A minus. So yeah, very well deserved, and I think she deserves the spot. Zhao, obviously S tier. He is very good, very good. Not much to explain. We all know the damage Zhao does, and definitely good DPS, so he deserves S tier. Jinkyu, very good support in my opinion. If you have a Jinkyu, please use him, especially if you use Hu Tao, D-Luke, or even Child even. He is the best support for your DPS units, except for Ganyu obviously, because she's a bow user. But Jinkyu is so good. He is so good. I don't know how much I have to stress about this. He is so good. He's absolutely amazing. Jingyang, or Zhang Ying, however you pronounce her name, I'm gonna put her S tier. She was kind of decent when she first came out, but not there in my opinion. Not much to explain. You know, she's not that good. Her, you know, utility usage is not the best in my opinion, so I think C tier works perfectly fine. Zhongli, I would say S tier for sure. Best shield character in the game. His shield is so good. His shield is so good. He will carry you for most of the end game contents. Not much to say about Zhongli. He's very good. Definitely deserve his S tier. Rosaria, I would say B tier. She's not that good. She was pretty cool when she came out, but you know, she doesn't really bring much to the table. So I think she deserves her B tier. I wouldn't really say there, maybe like around here. Better than these two, I would say. Yeah, I try my best to be, try to get that. But yeah, I think B tier works perfectly fine for her. She's not good, not that great, so there's that as well. Eula, she does really good damage if you actually like do the proper way. So I would say she's here, maybe here, maybe here, probably here. I'll say here. Eula's not S tier, obviously. She's not gonna be crazy carrying you. She does physical damage, of course. Pretty cool. Only thing that sucks is energy recharge is a problem with her, right? And skill cooldown, all that sort. But Eula, that's when Eula came out. That's when I first, stopped playing Genshin Impact. So I didn't really summon Eula, but I've seen a lot of videos on Eula, and I think A tier definitely. Where's she at? She's not the greatest DPS, obviously. Well, she's okay. Actually, I would say she's pretty good DPS in my opinion, but I don't think she is S tier. She's not gonna carry you like crazy, but she is decently good. Yanfei, I'm gonna put Yanfei at C tier. I'm gonna be honest. I have used Yanfei and she just doesn't do much for me. She's good pyro wise, but yeah, she really isn't good. She just doesn't do much damage. Her role is DPS, sub DPS, I guess. But yeah, I think C tier for Yanfei works perfectly fine. Kazuha, the newest character in the game, S tier in my opinion. He is so good. So, well, not so good, but he is good. Very good. His energy recharge is very good. You can get his ultimate back so quickly, and you're just gonna be proccing a bunch of elemental mastery damage to the enemies, and of course elemental mastery is pretty broken in the game right now. So Kazuha, probably the best character to use that. Sucrose is basically a dollar store Kazuha, really, in my opinion. But if you have Kazuha, definitely he will go through Spiral Abyss pretty easily. He breaks shields so easily. So Kazuha, in my opinion, S tier. And then the two new characters, obviously we don't know much about them, so they're just gonna be here until we know them. So pretty excited to see what they can do. And then this Kazuha, another picture. So yeah, that's my tier list. So obviously, it is my opinion, and I think it's a pretty solid tier list in my opinion. I think this is a very solid tier list. No, no bias, stat wise, statistically wise, right? I think this is a very solid tier list. If you have any concerns or questions about my tier list, comment down in the comment section down below. This video was a lot longer than I really wanted to be, but tier list does take a while because I also want to explain the characters and why I put them in there. I just don't want to put there and no explanation, right? So I try my best to explain everything. Obviously, I'm very behind in Genshin, as you can see, but even though I'm behind, I feel like I'm gonna start catching up. Daily content for Genshin Impact is my goal right now. So really do appreciate you guys if you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. But yeah, I think this tier list pretty solid. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button down below. Really would appreciate that. If you guys enjoyed that video, obviously hit that subscribe button. Other than that, y'all know the drill. Hit that bell notification, notifies you when I put up a video. That's gonna be it for me. Peace.